Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm moving around. Um, this is because I am watching VCT APAC in the background. I will not. This is not streamed for once, although it is worth checking out my Twitch channel, redditanalyst.df, because I do stream a lot of things. The reason I'm not streaming this, I don't have the right to stream this. I'm just using this as a background. Maybe I'll go in the top corner. I'll go in the map corner actually. Because that way I'm not covering Riot Games and I'm not covering the teams. Um, anyway, let's get into this video. So today I'm covering the VCT APAC, VCT East Asia Last Chance qualifiers, not APAC. I'm watching the APAC qualifiers, and we will be talking about the three Korean teams, which are Maru Gaming, Onslayers, and Damwon Kia, or Damwon Gaming. I don't know which one they are in VCT. I'm not going to comment too much on the players because I think I'm still learning after about a year of being really into it, and I'm not confident enough in my own ability to comment on it, unlike in League of Legends. Um, so this will mostly be things backed by facts, but we'll just sort of get into it and slowly I'll be learning because for those that don't know, this is my first video on Valorant, which is why I'm slightly nervous about this one. Um, so yeah, we'll start off with Mario Gaming. They had a horrible start in the group stage. They lost in the opening round of playoffs as well after a not too convincing opening stage, last stage, whatever. Group stage is somewhat negligible for them because they basically just lost to all the top teams and beat all the bad teams like a proper gatekeeper team. Um, so yeah, uh, they played pretty much. They didn't play Icebox because that's a perma ban in Korea, which is interesting because it's the most play. It was the most played map in the same stage in um, NA. Sorry about that. They only played Split and Ascent in the lower bracket final and the grand final, which are best of fives, so they're a normal ban for them. And that Ascent is the only time they play Fade, and Split's the only time they play Sage. Ascent also being the only map they don't play Chamber on. They went 3-0 on Bind with a fairly common comp of Neon Brim, Breach, Raise Chamber. Um, they went 0-3 on Haven with a Jet, Omen, Breach, Raise Chamber. Sorry, I think it's worth commenting. I didn't comment. They on Split and Ascent, which they played in the best of fives only. They won them both in the lower bracket and then lost in the grand final, which I think is fairly understandable because they were playing Damwon Kia, who were beatable but very solid in the lower bracket final, and DRX, who seemed like almost impossible to beat in Korea in the grand final. Breeze, they play a fairly standard comp, with it being the only map they play Viper on and the only map they play Sova on, which are very, very decent characters within the current meta. Fracture is the only map where they have any sort of adaptation throughout the playoffs. They lost it when they played Raze in their team, and then they won it when they played KO in their team. But they went 1-on-1, so it's very hard to see like whether that's a common thing they're going to do, whether they've actually learned or not. And they were against fairly different teams as well. One thing that's worth noting is they're the only Korean team not to have made any roster changes, so they've still got Chiba, Wix, Nakji, Jeonghi, and Moose. One thing I think is fairly interesting is that Wix and Nakji is in their top three most played operators characters. I can never remember what Valorant chooses to call them. They both have Chamber and KO, which I think is a bit interesting. But yeah, I think this team has a very decent chance of making it out. The one thing I would say is that as Icebox has been a perma ban, they've either got to deal with the fact that they've constantly got to keep a perma ban, keep a perma ban, or they're going to have to deal with other people probably being better than them on the map. The one thing I would say is that, like, if it works like the NA structure, it's best of threes for quite a long time until the top end, so they don't have to worry about it too much, and maybe they could use it as like a pocket pick in the grand final or something. But who knows how they've been practicing. Um, anyway, that is Maru Gaming. Damwon Gaming slash Damwon Kia. They're probably still Damwon Kia in Valorant. That would make most sense. Um, they've had one roster swap, which is Hate coming in. Well, Hate coming out. Sorry, who was formerly sort of a Breach Viper Sage sort of player, leaving in getting replaced by Allow, and then Lakia, who's come on loan as a sub. It's really interesting actually that they chose to get rid of Hate. I I didn't think there was any like individual liabilities in the team anywhere. I didn't think any of the players was particularly bad, and they only got clapped by DRX in groups and in playoffs, and then they lost 3-1 to Mario Gaming in the lower bracket final. But otherwise, I thought they performed very, very well. They were very dominant on Haven. They were pretty good on Breeze, where they only really lost to the top two teams. Um, Bind was very shaky. Which can sort of be seen by like in group stage they played Skybrim Breach every game, whereas in playoffs they played Chamber Sky Raze, and then they also played intermittently Sage Astra Viper, which like just sort of tells you they settled on a roster, and I think they might want to get Bind sort of out of their map pool if they can and ban it a bit more. But then they also have Icebox as a perma ban, like all Korean teams. So I think it'd be quite hard for them to do anything too radical. But I think if I was Damwon, I'd probably try and learn Icebox now and just get rid of Bind. Like I know Icebox, like I hate Icebox. I get it. It's a shit map IMO. Why do I keep saying IMO instead of in my opinion? God, I hate myself. Um, I don't actually hate myself. That was the wrong word to use. Apologies. Um, I hate the fact that I keep using that. I keep using IMO instead of in my opinion. But yeah, I think they should learn Icebox because Bind just isn't it. They lost against big teams. They lost against small teams in Korea on it. Split, they didn't play it too much until the best of fives in the grand final and the lower bracket final, so their 1 and 2 uh, like record isn't too bad. And we have to remember their records don't mean too much because they've replaced Hate with Allow, so we'll have to look into it. Another map they might want to consider whether they want to get rid of it or trying to completely relearn it is Fracture. They went 0-2 on it. They played it once in groups and once in playoffs. And once they lost it in groups, they made a massive change. They got rid of their Raze, their KO, and their Raze KO. Sorry, I can't do the math. They had Raze KO, Astra Breach, Chamber, and then they put Chamber, Cypher, Astra Breach, Neon. They got rid of Raze KO. They just got rid of Raze KO. I'm so stupid. I am very sorry, everyone. I'm not going to edit that out because that's actually just showing you that I am stupid. I can't read my own writing and I can't do maths. I can't count to 5 apparently. Um, so yeah, they made a rotation, but it didn't make any difference. So maybe they want to get rid of that for their map pool. So I think their map pool is actually pretty shit relative to a lot of the other teams. But we'll have to see what actually happens with it for them. As I said, they've got rid of Hate and replaced them with Allow, so we'll have to see. I don't know what Allow looks like. I don't even know what team Allow was on. Was he on? Oh, that was the wrong one. Was he on? Was Allow the guy who was like on? Was he on Marrow? No, not Marrow. It's not it's fine because I'm wrong. He was on Newton Gaming. I thought yeah. For some reason, I thought he was on WorldStar Gaming. Was it WorldStar? Something like that. WSG WorldStar Gaming, who don't play in the league anymore. But no, he wasn't. So he's come from Newton Gaming originally in Jadeite. I don't really remember him on Newton Gaming. I don't really remember the Newton Gaming squad too much anyway. Um, so I don't really know what I can tell you to expect. It's quite hard. Um, anyway, let's move on to Onslayers. Onslayers, had a formerly sick roster. Um, I didn't watch Onslayers too much in playoffs. I'm going to be completely honest because I expected them to beat Mario Gaming in the first round of lower bracket. I also actually expected them to beat Damon in the first round of the in the second round of the upper bracket, but they didn't. Because they had King, who was really sick, but he was on loan from DRX. I don't know maybe he underperformed in playoffs, and that's why they haven't tried to renew it, or maybe DRX wanting because he played so well. Then they also got rid of Zemba, and they've replaced them both with Estrella and Echo, so their stats are even more unreliable than that of Damwon. But theirs are far more up and down than anyone else's. Um, They only played Icebox, Haven, and Split once, and they lost it all once. Um, they made Split their permaban in playoffs after they lost it in groups. But then I Split was in their last game, which was kind of a which was when they also played Icebox, which was kind of like a pointless game. Um, and so they made a permaban after that. So maybe they thought it was just really bad, even though I thought they were kind of like slightly trolling in that game. Um, and the same with the Icebox. Icebox sort of became a bit. Icebox they don't need to ban because other people made it a permaban. But yeah, it was a bit dodgy. And then Haven, they didn't ban it too much. It was rare. They didn't play it ever in groups, but it was never their primary ban. It was often either someone else's primary ban or theirs or someone else's second ban. Um, so it just didn't get played in groups, and then they lost it in playoffs. But then they didn't have a great playoffs. They didn't win a single series. They lost 2-1 twice. So it's quite hard to judge it too much. Breeze, they only played in groups and they went 2-2 on it, which is another slightly dodgy map. Fracture, they went 1-1. Once they won it in groups and lost it in playoffs. Um, they do have some bright spots. Um, Ascent and Bind. Ascent is less of a bright spot. They went 3-2 on it. It's pretty bad when they only have two winning records on two maps of winning records. And it's quite interesting because on Ascent in groups, they always played Yoru, KO, Killjoy, Fade, and Astra. And I think they went 3-1 on it in groups. And in playoffs, they changed it completely. I think is it five? Yeah, they changed all but the Fade Astra, bringing in Chamber Sky and Omen. And I think they lost both games. They might have won one, lost one actually, but they didn't. Certainly had less success in playoffs with it. Um, the map they had the most success on though was Bind, which they went 4-1 on. In groups, they played a Sage, Raze, Viper, Sky continuously. Um, and then in playoffs they played a Sky, Raze, Viper, Brim. Um, uh, Continuously, and it was quite interesting because I think they went three. I think they went 2-0 on it in groups, and then went one. Wait, no, I think they went 3-0 in it in groups and 1-1 in playoffs on it. I think. So it was still a very strong map for them. I think they beat. I want to say they beat Mario on it in playoffs and lost to Damwon on it in playoffs. And they were a fairly solid team. They've lost King, who was their Eagle Queen playing Killjoy. Despite it's a joke. Um, Played Viper and Cypher, and they also lost Zumba, who played primarily Brim, Viper, and Astra. So it'll be interesting to see what Australia and Echo do. I don't know too much about them as players. I think Australia is not very well known, and Echo came from Reignite, or is on loan from Reignite, and Reignite aren't great. Like they're all right as a team, but they haven't done much. Okay, so it used to be on Quantum Strikers, which was that Vision Strikers' second team? I think it was, wasn't it, right? So yeah, he's been around, but he's not done much. So I'm not sure what we can expect from Onslayers. I think realistically they're definitely the third strongest team in Korea. Um, I don't know too much what to expect. I think Maru and Damwon definitely have a chance of making it out, but I don't think we'll see Onslayers making it out. But you never know. Could be a complete surprise. I think Korea definitely should be the strongest region. I think North Epsion, Crazy Raccoon and Rejects of Japan won't be that great, and it's very hard to judge China right now. Um, so I think Korea should be the strongest. My next Valorant video will be on the Japanese teams, and then after that I'll do the Chinese teams, and then I'll start talking about hype for actual champions. So we'll see. We'll see. This is fairly exciting. I will see you in the next video. Hope you have a good time until I next see you. Hope you enjoyed watching some of the VCT Last Chance qualifiers in the background. I may have to find a better thing, like highlights, rather than what I'm actually watching live. but I will need to find that in the future. But if you have a good highlights channel that actually, or something like that, that actually does it well, let me know. And I will look into getting permission to use them for my videos. Bye.